Hello guys, welcome back to a new Boom Beach video. I'm in the process of remaking a bunch of old tutorial videos we made. If you guys have a tutorial you want, and a lot of people also want it, then I'll make it. Let me know down below in the comments. And if you see one, just thumbs up it that you want. So, today we're going to be talking about statues. What statues you should have when in your Boom Beach career. What statues are the best for you personally. So there's three different types of statues. You have your offense, your defense, and your production. Let's start out by talking about production. So the only time you would want to use production is if you are not active on Boom Beach. Now when I say not active, I mean you log on every so often to collect your loot, maybe do 1 or 2 attacks, and then log off. But if you're logging on every day and attacking the daily event, and if you can complete the daily event, excluding defending hammermen, if you can complete it, if you're at that point, I would say maybe drop down a couple production statues. One thing to note is if your storages are getting filled up, so when you click on them, if it's full and you get the full amount of loot, you're wasting loot and you're wasting that statue. The whole point of a statue is to produce loot faster for you. And if you're not able to log on often enough to collect that extra loot you get, that extra speed you get, because it produces faster, then it's just not worth having. So don't have life statues if your resource storages are full when you log on. Now when I say resource storages, I mean your production units. So like sawmill, residence. So let's talk about defense statues. You know, Jimmy has a defensive statue. I don't think Jimmy should have a defensive statue, but Jimmy has a defensive statue. So, from my personal opinion and playing Boom Beach for 4.5 years, I've come to the realization that I'm probably never going to be a very defensive player. You know, I'm not the best at creating base layouts, and I don't drop prototypes, and I don't really care if people attack me and defeat me, so what's the point of having a defensive statue for me? But if you are trying to push for medals, drop down defensive statues. They help you a lot. So if you're trying to push for medals, drop down defensive statues. But if you get to the point where, this is when it gets kind of tricky, because if you get to the point where you can't defeat players on your map because you don't have like enough gunboat energy or enough damage, then, and it's not based on skill, then you should probably remove a couple statues, a couple defensive statues, and drop down some offensive statues to help you. I would say always have a troop damage, a gunboat energy masterpiece, for sure, because those are really good for you. Now I have to say, if you're above 1,000 medals, just do what works for you. You don't need to be listening to me. This is more for lower to mid-level players that I see having ice statues and life statues. One more time you should be using them is if you have a strong upgraded base design, okay, for your level, which means the people around you, your peers, when you're attacking other players, that means you're probably really low on medals, but for your level, but you're attacking other players, they're under you, the majority of them are under you in experience. So you would want to, and you have a strong upgraded base, and you have a good base layout, then you might benefit from dropping some defensive building statues. Most of you're not going to be in that situation. And then we have to also talk about which statues you should have in the defensive statue category. There's building health statues and there's building defensive damage. Just look at the top players, see their ratio, and copy it. Just copy the ratio, because that's probably what would work best for you. But at a lower level, I would say building health statues would work better. And then if you don't fall in any of those 3 categories, drop down offensive statues, go full offense. It's just going to help you better. You can attack. That means you're active enough, so attacking gets you more loot than producing. And that means you can defeat players on your map. So I have one more note to make after this, but I want to mention what I mean when I say offensive statues, because there's troop HP, troop damage, there's gumbo energy. Those are the active, I would consider them active offense. And then there's other statues that are more passive offense, like Power Stone Chance and Resource Reward. Now, when I was starting playing Boom Beach, I dropped down like 6 resource reward statues, and I just went full resource reward because I figured the more resources I can get from players, the faster I could upgrade my base. That was before the subscription services where you had an extra builder, and it worked. Getting loot was so easy because I had 6 resource reward statues. And you could also turn it around and go Power Stone Chance, have like 6 Power Stone Chance statues and just load up on Power Stones and just get a ton of power powder. So I don't know, you can do either of those routes. So at a lower level, masterpieces are hard to come by, so I would say drop down a dark masterpiece that you might get Gumbo Energy, which would be amazing. You might get Resource Reward, drop it down. Power Stone Chance, drop it down. And I wouldn't destroy those unless you get like a Gumboat Energy 17% or something Guardian. I would say for lower levels, try to get a Resource Reward Masterpiece. It helps you so much. A good one, 40% and up, helps so much more than you imagine. Power Stone Chance, again, it helps a lot. It helps you get Power Stones faster so you can get better statues. And Gumboat Energy, of course, is really good. So if you have a hard time defeating players on your map, drop down that troop damage, drop down that troop HP. If you're using a troop that would benefit from troop HP, drop down Gumboat Energy. It helps every combination. But just like play it smart, drop down statues that work for your strategy if you have a hard time defeating players on your map. And that should be pretty much it for statue types. I should also note about production statues, if you can defeat every player on your map easily and you're kind of not gaining in medals and not losing medals, you're kind of staying around the same medal point, you could, I hate to say this, but you could drop down some production statues or defensive statues to help defend or help produce better. And again, that's only if you can defeat players on your map. If you can't defeat players on your map, dropping down defensive statues to defend against those higher level, more skilled players is not going to do you anything. So I think I mentioned everything about what statues you should have, when you should have statues, but if you guys have a personal opinion, let me know down below, and if I miss something, I'll probably pin it as a comment or heart it. Let me know down below what works best for you, and I hope this tutorial video helped. I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.